Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good myself. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great as well. Thank you for being here again. Last time you were here, you were in wonderful shape because you were doing the Don John role.
That's right. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So
now I'm in terrible shape.
No. Now, have you kept up that kind of thing?
No, not at all. No.
You look like you have. I mean,
hey, thanks.
Yeah, but that was a lot of working out to get in that shape.
Yeah, well, this character is very concerned with appearances, sort of a surface-oriented guy, and goes to the gym every day. And I go to the gym no days.
Well, you look good.
Thanks, so do you.
And you directed and starred in the role, and I know that you give your mom a lot of credit, or most of the credit, for even being in this business.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. I mean, she really was the first one to teach me how to do any of this when we were reading stories or telling stories to each other at night before we go to bed. And she was the one who would drive me to all the auditions or drive me to work, because I started when I was 6 years old, you know? And she never pushed me to do it. She never said I had to do it. And she always said, if you don't want to do this, you can stop whenever you want. But she was really encouraging for both me and my brother. Anything we wanted to do, my parents would always really try to help us do it.
She was not in the business, though.
No.
But she was also a wonderful role model for you growing up, because she kind of pointed out things. She was sort of a feminist.
Absolutely. Well, that's a lot of what Don John is about. You know, it's about a guy who really sees the whole world, and especially women, as just things more than people, you know, objects for his consumption. And that was something that my mom would always point out to my brother and me, that our culture does often sort of portray women especially, but it happens to both women and men, but women especially, like objects. Like, for example, like we would always watch Laker games as a family. And what, no love for the Lakers? Come on. Thank you.
They were enthralled in the story. They didn't,
yeah, okay. But you know, my mom would always point out every time the cheerleaders would come on, okay, so look, here's the story that gets told. The men get to be this heroic, skilled athletes, and the women just get to be pretty. And she didn't mean any offense to any, you know, individual young woman who was working as a cheerleader, but just the concept of that. She wanted my brother and I to be aware of it, because we see these images on TV and in movies and in magazines all the time. And if we don't stop and think about it, it just sort of seeps into your brain, and that becomes the way you perceive reality.
Yeah.
And that's what Don John is about. A guy who grew up, you know, always seeing these images, and that's how he sees women now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very cool that your mother would point that out, because you do, and it's no offense to anyone. There are plenty of positions and things that people should do in life, and it doesn't mean anything other than just notice it. And you call yourself a feminist.
I do call myself a feminist, absolutely, sure.
Yeah. Good for you.
It's just like, it's worth paying attention to the roles that are sort of dictated to us, and to realize that we don't have to fit into those roles. We can be anybody we want to be.